I would highly recommend doing the bad version of it. Doing it super terribly, it's like a meme. Like you're like, what the fuck did I just do? Like I'm gonna make this so bad, it's embarrassing. Good morning, everyone. Why does it look so zoomed up? I feel very close. Yeah, today is Monday. I'm filming it. Guess what? On the day that I'm posting it, I'm actually filming 2 episodes today, and I'm not even going to try to pretend that it's a different day. I'm going to wear the exact same outfit and just record. Anyways, starting with the high-low buffalo. So my high for this week is I finally got to visit one of the really nice beaches here in New York City, and thank God one of my friends just happened to have a car, and so we could get to Long Beach or Long Island, which is literally so hard to get to from train. I can't even explain how surprised I was that the beach that we visited looked so similar to a California beach. I really didn't even feel like I was in New York. I was very confused. I went swimming. Well, not really. I did the thing where you like hop the wave. So not really swimming, but that's close enough. I basically got in the water. And I don't know if I've ever talked about this on my podcast. Honestly, I probably have because I've had this podcast for years now. But I don't like water. I'm not good with water. And so I usually avoid it as much as possible. But I decided to go swimming this time because it just felt so good outside. And it was so nice to get into the water. It was really fun. So I felt like a kid again. And yeah, that was super fun. And then my low, as you guys know, I am a tattoo artist and I'm hustling. I am straight up on my knees for these clients. And it's just hard because, you know, when you're new, it's really hard for people to find out about you. And you have to compete against everyone else and their mothers on social media and whatever platform everyone's using to market yourself. And so, yeah, that's been my low. It's just been so annoying to find people, have people cancel on me. This is a lot of money shuffling out of my bank account right now, and it's not fun or cute, but it's something I have to do. And it's really like starting a business where in the beginning you're gonna have to lose a lot of money, and then eventually, hopefully, knock on wood, I make back the money and make profit. But I am in the negatives now, not in my bank account, but negatives in terms of spending for my tattoo. That's my low. Okay, and for my buffalo, there's just so much going on, guys. You guys know. I've been talking about it. But I was trying to kind of settle down into the new space and start a new routine because we're in a new area and just like, you know, feel more at home in this new apartment. And I've just been doing such a terrible job at that. I have never seen my sleep schedule like this in a long time. I find it so hard to go to the gym and do all the things I used to do that were really good habits. I don't know, it's been like killing me. Like last night I stayed up for no reason, but at the same time I know why I stayed up. It's because I kind of couldn't fall asleep since I've been staying up very late recently, but also because I wanted to scroll on my phone because I haven't had a chance to just lay down. And so I was like, I really want to do this. And then before I knew it, it was 12. And I was like, well, how the hell am I going to go to the gym today? And so I didn't go to the gym because I got to film and do all the stuff. So it was just like a ripple effect. And that's what's been happening. Yeah, let's just get into the topic of this episode. I actually got a recommendation, a suggestion from a viewer, friend, I don't know who. It was anonymous. If you guys want to leave suggestions, I have a Google form. I know. Cringe, whatever. But it's in the description of this video. And you can send me video ideas and podcast ideas, and I will do episodes on them. So this is one of those ideas that I got. how to stay consistent, how to keep going and feel motivated in the middle of the year when you have your goals that you set for yourself in the year. And I mean, it happens to everybody. Like in the beginning, you get super excited. And at the end, you're like also excited because you know it's the end of the year and you kind of like have push. But in the middle is where it's really hard to get yourself to keep going. So that's what this episode's about. How to keep going, how to feel motivated when you're going through slump. This whole problem of losing motivation in the middle of the year happens to literally everybody. You know, as humans, it's really hard for us to, especially nowadays with how much stimulation and how quick things go. Like it's really hard for us to do one thing over and over for a really long time and stick with it. It's really difficult unless you, okay, I'm getting too into it, but yeah. It's really hard. And that's also why I don't believe in resolutions. It doesn't usually work out. And also, you don't really know what your year is going to look like. In January or December, you have this idea of how you want the year to go, and you kind of create these goals and make these plans accordingly. But then what happens in the middle of the year is you're like, oh, this year is not actually going the way that I thought, because we can't completely predict what's going to happen in the future. And so I think, you know, May, June, July-ish, August is when you're like, shoot, like what is happening? Like why all these things start happening that you didn't expect. It could be in a good way or a bad way, whatever it is, but it does shake up your plans and your goal setting. If you did make goals and you still want to stick to them, that's completely fine. And there's a reason why people are still doing it. So it does work for some people. But here are some tips and tricks that help me with like really keeping it consistent. And I'm not the best example right now because obviously I just like threw out a lot of habits out the window. But I still know from past experience, from the past years where I actually kept at my goals in the middle of the year. Starting off, okay, so the hard thing is that once you become an adult, you no longer have like the school type of schedule where you have a summer usually, or you have like some prolonged break, or like periods where they're marked by some kind of celebration or an ending of something so that you can feel like you're starting again. You don't have like quarters where, or semesters where in the beginning you start with new classes. You have the goal of like a few months to finish the class, to pass the class. And at the end you celebrate with a break and you're like, yay, I finished that. And then you start again. Instead, it just kind of continues. When you're an adult, it's just like January looks the same as July, as same as December in terms of your goals and what you're trying to do, unless you add a cap date. And so that's why you want to simulate the pattern and the schedule that you had in school, because that is very aligned to what we like as humans, where there's some type of reward and there's an end date and we're more certain on our progress and we can see that progress. And so if you can create smaller goals or actually add smaller due dates in between starting the goal and then finishing the goal, and then actually letting yourself celebrate each small win, then you have something to look forward to. And it creates a cycle of like working hard and then taking a break and then starting again, and then kind of feeling a little bit excited because you're looking forward to that small break. And you're also looking forward to the new next part of the path, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a video game. You want to finish each level and then at the end you complete the entire game. But you had to break it down into sections. The next piece of advice that I would use is to get as much of your goal work into a routine. So whether it is like starting first thing in the morning on writing or whatever it is, incrementally each day having that one set time that you work on that goal and for a set amount of time, then you won't have to think about it. So it's the same as waking up and brushing your teeth. That whole process I do mindlessly. Sometimes I do it and I don't even realize that I did it. I'm like, did I even brush my teeth? And I have to like literally sit there and think about whether or not it happened, but it's because it's so mindless. And you want to get into that state of mind for your goals, because then once you do that, you almost feel off if you don't work towards your goal. And you want to get to that point where it's just a fact. It's just a natural part of life that you do this thing every single day or every other day or whatever it is. It will help a ton, because I just hate saying we as humans, but yeah, us as humans, we have a really hard time imagining and seeing the future and like long timelines in a concrete way. Like it's really hard for us to fathom a 10-year project. If I'm thinking to myself like what I'm going to look like at 33 and like that whole journey, I can't. Like it doesn't, like I can't comprehend it properly in my brain. It's just too much time and it's just too big, if that makes sense. Because we can't do that, when you are working towards big goals that require a lot of time, and usually that's the case for good things. If you really want a goal that you're really shooting for, a dream that is really far out there, I can promise you can get there, but it's going to be really hard to imagine yourself getting there because it's so big and such a far away goal. But you don't want to focus on that aspect. You want to focus on the little bits every day and having incremental little bits of progress, and before you know it, those 10 years, let's say, pass by and you made your goal. It's really hard for us to do it the other way around, where you like imagine the 10-year period and then use that as your like North Star. It just doesn't really work out for us. And so focusing on this day by day and like getting it as automated as possible is going to be your best friend. I just mentioned this a second ago a little bit with the other tip. Try really hard not to focus too much on the big goal, the far-reaching destination you're trying to get to. Well, at least for me, usually doesn't help. I just get super overwhelmed. Like doing these YouTube videos and doing my tattoo business, I'm just thinking about the next 2 steps. That's as far as I'm thinking. I know generally like what I want, but I don't focus on it. I don't think about, I want to get to the point where I can make half my income off of YouTube, for example, something like that. I don't really think about that. Actually, like I almost never do unless somebody asks me. I actually just focus on, okay, I need to get a video out today. I need to get a video out next week. What's the video going to be about? How am I going to edit it? Literally, that's it. I don't know much else. And I've automated and set into a routine the process of filming every single week, editing every single week on certain days, and uploading on certain days. Well, I try to. That doesn't always happen, as you guys know. And that's okay. And I know from my past experience that it just, when I focus on the big end goal, I get really in my head. Those are not good times. That's when I hit like dips, and I have this dip period once every 6 months usually, where I just mentally break down because I overthought about where I am in the path, and I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. Why is it taking so long? Like, what am I doing wrong? And how come I'm not here? And why haven't I reached my goal? Like all those thoughts, when they start coming up and I really start thinking about the bigger picture, I just get freaked out and I cry for a good 3 to 5 hours, call everybody freaking out. Happens every 6 months. And so I know it's just not helpful. I have to focus on the smaller day-to-day next steps. Hopefully that's something that helps with you guys. I don't know if you guys are the same. Some people might be completely different and be like, if I don't focus on the North Star, then I feel lost. Like, I don't know. Okay, so I also know a huge part of it could be procrastination. I've already posted a podcast in the past about how to handle procrastination. So if you need like a solid list of, I think, 10 things that help with getting over procrastination, watch that video. That video is really, really freaking good. I'm not even trying to like toot my own horn just cause, but I genuinely use those pieces of advice to get myself out of a rut. And I've heard a lot of good things from people who've used the things that I talked about in that video. So watch that video, not to toot my own horn or self-promote, but it actually is really helpful. So try that video, but also realize that if you are losing motivation and you're just not feeling out the work anymore, maybe take a step back and be like, what's going on? One, do I need to pivot because my entire year is looking completely different? And if that's the case, that's okay. You didn't expect it. Life happens and it just throws a lot of shit at you. And that's super duper expected and normal. It's just, are you ready and are you able to pivot as you need? Because sometimes that goal just doesn't make any more sense, and you trying to fit it into your life is really not going to work out, which is why you feel unmotivated, which is why it's harder than it should be, which is why you are procrastinating. And also try to think to yourself, why do you actually not want to do it? If it's not because it doesn't fit into your plans, like deep down, what is it? What are you scared of? What are you concerned about? And really get to that root. You want to quiet down those hesitations or the root barrier that's keeping you from actually doing something and taking action. Because if you allow it to come to the surface, you won't be pushing it down as much anymore. And when you push it down, it kind of makes you feel like you shouldn't be doing it. It comes off very differently, but if you bring it up to the surface, then you understand what's going on. You understand that the actual problem is this. It's not because you're not meant to do it. It's not because you're a failure. No, it's because you're actually really terrified of the outcome. And because of that, your like fight or flight senses are like, activated and like basically protecting you from really bad emotions, which is super valid and makes a lot of sense. And also just realize that there's going to be highs and lows. So this low is going to be very temporary, just like a high is going to be very temporary. Overall, anything that's worthwhile to do is going to take time. That's something that's hard for me and like a lot of people to accept, because so many things in life right now with technology and social media, everything's just done so quickly. You see posts so quickly, new posts, trends come up really, really quickly and die really quickly. And there's just so many quick cycles that it seems like that's how everything is supposed to be. But the way that nature and actual, life is, it's really not that way. A true good thing takes a long ass time, and that's how it is. That's just a fact of life, unfortunately, and it's something that we have to keep accepting and adapting to, even though technology and everything else is going by super duper fast. And finally, this is just a quick hack, but if you're just like trying to get yourself to like get started and just do the thing, I would highly recommend doing the bad version of it. Like doing it super terribly, it's like a meme. Like it's comical. Like you're like, what the fuck did I just do? Like I'm gonna make this so bad, it's embarrassing. And trust me, just doing that is just gonna make you laugh and be like, what the hell? Like I totally can do it better. And then you're actually gonna get yourself to start going. I talked about this a little bit in my procrastination video, but the hardest part is to actually start. So if you could just do the bad version, because it's gonna be super easy, super funny, and like dumb, it's gonna be really easy to get started. You already basically started on it by doing the bad version of it, and you're going to, if you really care about this thing that you're working on, you're eventually going to get to the point where you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like, for my sanity, I need to fix it and I need to do it better. And before you know it, you're going to be working on it and doing the thing. So that is something that I would try as a quick fix, as something you need to do day of to get yourself going. And yeah, so I hope this video is helpful to the person who left a comment, a recommendation, a suggestion in my form thing, and to anybody else who's in the same boat as that person. And yeah, thanks for watching always. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, all good things, and have the best week ever. Bye.